Hi, welcome to another interval of magic. Soon I'll be introducing these videos as magical intervals because not only is my last name Interval, but a long time ago, I'm not going to say the exact year, the Pittsburgh Press wrote a feature article on me and my magic, and the headline was Magical Interval, and I thought that sounded really cool. So anyway, I'm sorry it's been so long since I made my last video, but I was kind of busy. I got married. That was back in May 29th. But anyway, I'm back. And I'm hoping to make a lot more videos. So anyway, welcome to another magical interval. Today, I want to share with you the first installment of what I will probably call Magic Book Club. And during these book club segments, I'm going to read passages from my favorite magic books. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced magician, doesn't matter. You should get some value out of these. You may or may not have the book that I'm going to read from. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But maybe if you're an advanced magician, maybe it'll remind you of some basic concept and it'll sort of, inspire something. And if you're a beginner, very, very useful information, I hope. So today's installment for the Magic Book Club is Modern Magic. You might have heard of this. Modern Magic by Professor Hoffmann. It was written in 1876. This is a really old book. Professor Hoffmann's real name was Angelo Lewis. He was born in 1839 and died in 1919, if I'm remembering correctly. And this arguably was the very first comprehensive book of magic tricks. And by the way, it's a part of a tetralogy of books. The first one is Modern Magic. The second one is More Magic. The third is Later Magic. And the fourth is Latest Magic. Some magicians didn't even know about Latest Magic. But it's old as well. They're all pretty old. So anyway, let's get started. I'd like to read from the introduction. And unfortunately, I need reading glasses. But I hope you enjoy this. Oh, by the way, what's really cool, this particular edition, which you may have noticed is pretty beat up, it was owned by a magician by the name of Ray C. Hayden. He was the president of the Pittsburgh Association of Magicians. And I think that began in like 1914. And it maybe lasted for at least 30 years, I'd say. So I think it's really cool, even though this book is super beat up. So again, this is from the introduction, chapter 1. Considering the great antiquity and the unfading popularity of the magic art, it seems at first sight a matter of wonder that its literature should be so extremely scanty. In England in particular is this the case. Until within the last few years, it would have been difficult to name a single book worth reading upon this subject, the whole literature of the art consisting of single chapters in books written for the amusement of youth, parenthetical, which were chiefly remarkable for the unanimity with which each copied without acknowledgement from its predecessors, and parenthetical, and handbooks sold at the entertainments of various public performers who took care not to reveal therein any trick which they deemed worthy of performances by themselves. Upon a little consideration, however, the scarcity of treatises on white magic is easily accounted for. The more important secrets of the art have been known but to a few, and those few have jealously guarded them, knowing that the more closely they concealed the clue to their mysteries, the more would those mysteries be valued. Indeed, the more noted conjurers of 50 years ago strove to keep the secret of their best tricks, not only from the outside world, but from their confreres. At the present day, the secrets of the art are not so well kept, and there is hardly a trick performed upon the stage which the amateur may not, at a sufficient expenditure of shillings or guineas, procure at the conjuring depots. There being, therefore, no longer the same strict secrecy, the literature of magic has improved a little, though it still leaves much to be desired. The general ambition of compilers seems to be to produce books containing nominally some fabulous number of tricks. In order to do this, they occupy 2/3 of their space with chemical and arithmetical recreations, and, as a necessary result, the portion devoted to conjuring tricks, properly so called, is treated so briefly and scantily as to be practically useless. There is a vast difference between telling how a trick is done and teaching how to do it. The existing treatises, with few exceptions, do the former only. The intention of the present work is to do the latter also, to teach sleight of hand generally, as well as particular tricks, and to conduct the neophyte from the very ABC of the magic art gradually up to those marvels which are exhibited on the public stage. The student may rest assured that if he will diligently follow the instructions here given, he will be able in due time not merely to astonish his friends extempore with a borrowed coin or pack of cards, but to roll rabbits into one, compel chosen cards to rise spontaneously from the pack, produce lighted lanterns from empty hats, and bowls of goldfish from empty pocket handkerchiefs. In a word, to execute all those wonders which he has hitherto deemed the exclusive property of the public performer. There are, of course, different degrees of natural aptitude. Latin, non cuivis hominum contingit edere Corinthum. That means, it is not everyone that can be a Robert Houdin or Boitier, which is Boitier de Colta. But given the usual number of fingers and thumbs, fair intelligence, and a sufficiency of perseverance, anyone who will may become at least a tolerable conjurer. Be it remembered that we especially stipulate for perseverance. A wizard is not to be made in a day, and he who would attain excellence must be content to proceed as he would with music, drawing, or any other accomplishment, viz., begin at the beginning, and practice diligently until he attains the coveted dexterity. How cool is that? Now, of course, a lot of the language in this book is really old. That's why I kind of had trouble reading some parts of it. And again, some of the material in this book is kind of out of date. But that's okay. Because, as I said earlier, you can gain some really, really cool information from these books. If you like this book, yes, you can buy an old copy from someone. They do have more up-to-date copies as well for a little less. But you don't have to pay a cent for it, because you can read modern magic online for free on websites such as archive.org and Google Books. So I recommend doing that. And by the way, Archive, that site has not only a digital copy, but it has the digital copy once owned by Houdini. In fact, I think they have multiple copies of the same book, but the one that Houdini owned is actually digitized for you to enjoy. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for the first installment of Magic Book Club. Again, my name is Tom. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you later. In the meantime, I hope all your intervals are happy, peaceful, and magical.